We're rolling now.
Are we?
Yeah. Good morning. It's...
Sunday
Did you say chat?
chat!
Oh,
It's Sunday chat!
yeah, alright. You don't need to go OTT now, Paul, because you've got a cold.
Yeah, I got a cold.
He's got a cold.
I got a cold.
I didn't think he'd be able to say that, but yeah. He's got a cold, you know, blah, 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 travelling around public transport in a hospital for 10 days with Mum. That's why you've got a cold. Well, 7 days, 10
Actually,
days.
it was 7.5.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're back. No, don't say it again because it's totally boring now. Welcome back. We're back for Sunday chat. We've said
Sunday?
it twice. No.
Chat.
Paul, please don't now.
Oh, right, okay.
Because it really is getting tedious now.
Well, you mentioned it.
Yeah, but you don't have to say it every time I
Oh, right, okay.
effing well say it.
Right, okay.
God, do we have to start off on this foot?
Which one? That one.
Good
We're back.
morning. It's Sunday morning.
And
we're back.
We're back.
If you do that again, I'll actually press stop.
No, I'm not going
And
to.
the viewers won't get a Sunday
No,
chat.
I'm
No.
No.
Because that's becoming some kind of mental health issue for you now.
Yeah, I think it most probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the cold.
So you need to take control of it, Paul.
I'm taking control.
Okay?
I will only say it twice in future.
Yeah, and you've said it twice today, so that's it. Stop, stopper. Anyway, we've got lots on the agenda. Would you say agendum?
No.
What's
Agenda.
agendum? Is that the plural, agendum?
I don't know what agendum is, actually. We'll have to look it up after. But it's an agenda. We are here. We have an agenda.
If it's just one item on the agenda, would it be an agendum?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
I don't know either. So answers on a postcard as usual.
My Latin doesn't help with that. Not that I remember it
Doesn't
now
it?
anyway.
Is it agenda not a Latin word?
Yeah, it is. But
Oh.
I can't remember dumb.
Well, what was the point of doing it?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'd gone into botany though, it would have been very useful. Yeah.
So we're back, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for bearing with us whilst we've been away.
It feels like ages.
It is
Feels like
ages. It's like a good
absolutely ages.
couple of weeks, isn't it?
It's
you know-
3 weeks, isn't it? Really, because there's 2 weeks we haven't done a Sunday chat.
Yes. Okay.
It
Well, let's
feels
get
like
on.
much longer. Yeah. I'll shut up now.
You finished?
Yeah, I've finished.
Whilst I'm doing the introduction.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
It's quite warm. I've turned the heating off.
Good.
Am I overdressed? Well,
Most probably. Yeah.
probably. Oh well. Best to be warm than cold. So we're back, blah blah blah, as I just said, blah blah blah, da 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 da. Paul, how was it? How was the trip away from me? Did you miss me?
I did actually.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, you were. Did you have Eduardo or whatever visiting?
Eduardo?
What was his name?
No, I didn't have any male visitors,
no.
Paul.
Oh,
You
I-
can...
oh, no.
The fantasy still remains a fantasy.
It was.
I didn't have time to have a fantasy relationship affair. I was clearing that loft room out for you.
That's right. Well, for you.
And
actually.
cleaning continuously. I did 4 spring cleans in those 10 days.
So we don't have to do anything now till 2024.
No.
Yeah.
I think the surfaces are so sparklingly clean that dust wouldn't actually gather on them now.
Though there is dust on my desk.
Yeah, well, that's your desk.
Yeah.
Your disgusting, dusty, horrid desk. So let's go back to Mum.
Mum.
How was Mum? In brief, Paul, We haven't got all day.
Oh, it was a challenge. I mean, it really was a challenge from beginning to end. We stayed in a Premier Inn at the Trafford Centre. I think possibly the worst Premier Inn I've ever stayed in.
Let's just make it very, very clear. We're not against Premier Inn.
Oh no, we love
at
Premier
all.
Inn, absolutely.
So it's not a bad review. We
No,
don't want anybody
no.
to take it the wrong way.
No, but if you're going to stay at Trafford West Premier Inn, go to one of the two others which are closer because they're newer and they're better.
But the service you received wasn't poor, was it?
No.
No.
The food was dire.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's been so many challenges over the past, over the past 3 weeks since Mum and my brother and his wife flew to Manchester for Mum to have the operation at the Salford Royal Hospital. Putting aside Premier Inn and just looking at the overall success of the operation has been a success because Mum has significantly reduced pain. Can't speak. Significantly reduced pain, has a little more mobility, which will get better as time goes on with physio and all of that. She's also therefore not taking the painkillers that she was taking previously, or the volume that she was taking previously.
She was taking shed loads of cocodamol.
And is generally sort of feeling brighter.
Yeah. She's probably not in a codeine haze now as well.
No, most probably not, no.
You know.
But we thought that, for some reason, Guernsey thought that Mum was going to have the operation on the Thursday and then be flying back on the Saturday to Guernsey. So flights were booked for that, but it didn't actually happen because Mum needed to be in hospital for longer. But because the cost of the changing flights was incredible for my brother and his wife, they flew back on the Saturday, and we were sort of expecting that I'd fly back with Mum on the Tuesday. A number of things happened. They don't do physio over the weekend. Mum was also ill over the weekend, and it took us until the Wednesday, so from the Thursday to the following Wednesday, for Mum to actually get a sort of boot fitted for her left leg so that her foot went in the right direction when she was walking. And that meant that we could leave on the Thursday and fly back on the Thursday. Everyone in the hospital that we met and was looking after Mum was delightful and fantastic. There's absolutely no doubt about that. The people were absolutely lovely, the nurses were lovely. So all of that was great. Then when it came to Mum being discharged, the physio that fitted the boot to Mum's leg said that Mum didn't need any further physio. And on her discharge notes, there wasn't anything about any post-operative care at all, which we thought was a bit odd, but she had been in longer, and we were told that she did need to walk and exercise and that type of thing, and she was given a few exercises to do. So anyway, we left on the Thursday, so that's 7 days after the operation, and unfortunately when my brother and his wife had flown back to Guernsey, they had taken my mum's ID with them, the driving licence with them, which I only realised sort of like midnight. So what's that? That's sort of 19 hours before we were supposed to fly. So anyway, in the morning we had to sort out Mum being able to fly to Guernsey, and the only two bits of ID she had, no photo ID, the only bits of ID she had was her Waitrose card and a social security card, which is effectively what your national insurance card is in Guernsey, it's social security. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we arrived at Manchester Airport, were dealt with by the access mobility people really well, and got to the check-in. When we checked in, they had to phone through to the duty manager of Orani that we were flying with, and everything was fine. But we had to take Mum's walker to the oversized luggage area because it had to go in oversized luggage. It's obviously a large walking frame. When we got there, I handed over the walker, put it on the conveyor belt that weighed it and all of that type of thing. And then the person said, can I have the boarding pass and ID? So I gave the boarding pass for Mum, and I gave the social security card and the Waitrose card, which had been used by Orani to approve Mum to
and
fly.
check in.
And the guy said, oh, but you can't, without ID, photo ID, the walker can't fly.
The walker.
And I went,
an inanimate
sorry,
object.
What do you mean? I didn't realise that walkers needed to have passports, which most of it wasn't the best thing to say, but yeah, there we are.
It's the only thing to say.
Then we sort of said, well, okay. He said, if you checked it in under your name, it would be fine. And I said, okay, fine. Can I have it back? And it was like, oh no, you can't have it back because it's already been passed over to us for our, management. It was sort of, so it can't fly and I can't have it back. So it was like, okay, Mum, let's go. Get on the plane. We'll buy a new one in Guernsey. Anyway, suddenly it was all resolvable somehow. And the duty manager was called. And after about 10 minutes, he turned up. By this time, Mum was quite distraught because she felt that she was holding people up. It was all her fault. She was near to tears, all of this type of thing. And I was going, Mum, it's not your fault. It's just, we'll get through this. It's absolutely fine. And then the guy turned up, the duty manager turned up, and he told me the reason why the walker couldn't fly. And I said, no, thank you. I understand that. How do we resolve this situation? And then I got excuse me, sir, let me explain. And then he explained again to me what he just told me. And halfway through that, I said, I'm sorry for interrupting. I understand what you're saying. How do we resolve? And it was like, no, so if you just let me finish.
Job's worth, round in circles, blah, blah,
so
blah.
It then turned out that we needed to call the duty manager of Orani because it needed to be the airline that approved the walker to fly.
Which they'd already done.
Which they'd already done with Mum, to fly without ID. Anyway, the Orani guy turned up. One duty manager asked the other duty manager, can this fly? Orani duty manager, yes, that's fine. The oversized baggage duty manager, oh sir, that's all fine, you can now go through. So that was a challenge.
It's procedures, isn't it? It's when procedures and protocols have been put in place to enable a situation to occur, that it's then not communicated down the line to the people that actually need to know on the barriers, if you like, the actual physical barriers to the next stage of the airport. Communication needs to occur. And what really, really annoys me, I wasn't even there, but I got annoyed about it. What really annoys me is that in this day and age, we are so aware that stress is a killer.
Yeah.
Yet these companies, these procedures and processes are very poorly managed, and the result is very often stress on the customer.
Yeah.
I mean, you asked to leave something somewhere, didn't you, whilst you went to a disabled toilet with Mum?
I needed to take Mum to the toilet. She was in a wheelchair, and it was an accessibility area through in the departure lounge. And I said, may I leave my bags here? No, absolutely not. Now, I sort of understand that.
Yeah.
But also, I'm afraid not, sir.
I'm sorry, I can't take responsibility for your luggage. I'm really sorry.
So I then had to take Mum to the...
But again, no solution.
No solution,
No
no.
solution. It's not solution.
Well, the only solution was, if you leave your bag there, I'm going to call security.
I'll destroy your baggage.
And you won't have your bags.
And then she had the cheek to say as you left, don't I get a thank you?
Yeah.
No, you
Said
don't.
under her thing, I suppose I don't get a thank you. I've ignored that and just...
You know, if
but I then
been,
had to go to Mum. I had to take Mum to the
loo
disabled
with all your
toilet
bags,
with a big rucksack, with Mum's bag, with Mum's medicines in a bag because they needed to be in a separate green bag because they'd been dispensed by the hospital. We had another bag for some reason that we'd given something, and then of course you go into the disabled toilet, which are large, but when you've got a wheelchair, your mum, a backpack, another bag, your coats, all of that. That's where it was, coats. And then when we were in the disabled toilet, there was this thing going on, this voice, constant voice, of something like, if you are vision impaired, please press this button to have further information about how to use this facility.
Which button?
But I thought, well, if you're visually impaired, you most probably can't see the button anyway. But also, this message, we were in there for about 10 minutes. This message just went on and on and on. And you'd think that they'd have a thing that when you go in, it's on for 2 or 3 times and then stops. But no, we were in there 10 minutes and it was as if there was another person in there with us repeating everything.
But I mean, this opens up, doesn't it, a whole area around, a whole sort of discussion around accessibility in places like airports, train stations.
Absolutely.
You know, disabled
Absolutely.
people, no matter what the type of disability is physically, are most definitely treated as a minority.
Yeah.
In so many ways. And, you know, also treated quite badly by other members of the public.
Yeah.
Treated as an impatient, you know,
yeah, they're getting
with
in the way.
impatience, they're in the way, get out of my way, you're holding me up. And because we're all so geared up to trying to get to our destination as quickly as possible and as frantically as possible. You know, I find airports, you know, I'm not disabled, but I find airports stressful, unpleasant places, unless they're empty.
Yeah, they generally
Which
are.
very occasionally I've been to an airport early in the morning. God, I'll never do that again. But, you know, early in the morning, you're
When
catching
did you
early.
do that?
Well, we went a couple of times quite
when
early.
we went to, yeah.
You know, and it was quite pleasant. But even so, they're not particularly pleasant. And, you know, the staff sometimes must be under great pressure, you know, and lots of abuse sometimes from the public. And, you know, it's their job not to let it show. And, you know, it really actually annoys me when I watch these programs and they say things like, don't speak to me like that, I'm not here to be spoken to like that. No, but you're here to actually stay in control and to not show your emotions. In service, that's what you have to do.
Absolutely,
I work for social services. I get the same kind of grief. You stay in control and you stay polite because you want to keep that person calm. So the whole experience can be very stressful. Add a disability into the mix. I mean, there was that guy who didn't get any help in the airport, that story, and he had to literally crawl along the floor to get to where he needed to get to. And it was on social media. I think he'd had a stroke or he was paralysed, I can't remember, and he was a strong guy, you know, upper body strength, and he had to pull himself along the airport to get to where he needed to go because the right kind of assistance wasn't there. And, you know, there's that comedienne.
Yeah, she was on the train several times last year, wasn't she?
I can't remember, I'm so sorry, I can't remember her name. Tanny Lee Davis or something like that.
Yeah.
She has had so many issues with her scooter on trains and has actually been verbally abused by some common trash for being disabled.
And holding people up because of that.
I mean, really the thinking should be that there is accessibility for everybody.
Mm.
I mean, who wants to go to the loo in one of those cubicles that you can barely walk through the door?
Yeah, yeah.
Who wants to do that anyway? Why aren't all the loos bigger? Generally, then it would mean everybody could use the same facilities.
And everyone will be treated, therefore, in
equally,
a similar way. Which is what I'm sure we all want.
It comes down to greed at the end of the day. How much money can the companies save? How many units can we cram in? We need to think of serving as many people as possible. No, you need to think of serving all of the community, all of the population in a fair way,
A respectful and fair way.
Look at the number of shops that aren't accessible still.
Yeah.
We have a couple of friends who have to use, mobility vehicles, and
Cough.
and have a lot of difficulties.
Yeah.
Still, it's 2019. We live in rich countries.
We live in, I think, the 5th or 7th richest, wealthiest and most prosperous country in the world.
And yet people with a disability are still treated as second-class citizens. It's not right. Anyway, I think we need to move on from this.
Yeah,
So Mum.
We then came out, left the departures lounge and were wheeled through to the foot of the plane, the steps of the plane, which is absolutely fantastic. But unfortunately, the lift wasn't working properly. That you put the wheelchair in, it lifts it up to the thing. And there was only 5 steps. And the people who were there for the mobility did say, well, it's only 5 steps. And my mum being, I was saying, well, we need to find another way. But Mum was anxious to get on the plane and get home. So there was various of us on either side. I was behind Mum, trying to as she took each step, people were helping. That was great. I was behind her, making sure she didn't fall. I had my backpack on, which weighed a ton. And I also had a couple of other bags as well, one other bag, 2 other people holding 2 other bags. And I almost fell off the steps of the plane, backwards. And if I had fallen, Mum would have fallen. Fortunately, I grabbed the railing at the right time, so I didn't and Mum didn't. Then Mum had been put into 16A, which is sort of like a third of the way down the plane. And as soon as we were on the plane, the stewardesses of Orani, thank you so much for your help.
Orani.
You were amazing.
Orani is a lovely airline. We always fly with Orani. And this is not a plug for Orani. There's no money involved, but they're always really polite, really pleasant to fly with. Lovely.
Anyway, when the stewardesses saw Mum's lack of mobility, and of course by this time Mum was exhausted, she was absolutely shattered.
Of course she was. Bless her.
They said, right, when we get to Guernsey, you'll be taken from your seat, down the aisle, down the steps, and then put into a wheelchair and then taken through. And they were lovely. They asked us, did we want anything? Did we want a cup of tea or a cup of coffee? Not sort of, do you want to pay for one? Did we want any water? We didn't. It was a shortish flight. Anyway, we got back to Guernsey that evening. Everyone in Guernsey airport was fabulous. My brother picked us up at the airport. We went home. Mum was feeling really quite rough and sick. Went to bed, but after half an hour she was okay. And we had we had a good few days, which was great.
Good.
And then on the Sunday, I was flying back. We decided on the Friday I needed to fly back on the Sunday, so I had work to do, and I had work to do.
And a life here in London.
And we knew that, you know, that Mum has care in the morning and care in the evening in her own home. But we were trying to find out what else she needed, get the physio that she needed, because nothing was in the discharge notes. I'm going to cough again.
Have some of your tea.
So
Have some of your tea. Sit, moisturising the throat.
So I left Mum about 1:45 midday. My brother took me to the airport. I flew back to London. Was on the train. I called my mum. This must have been about 4 o'clock, something like that. Maybe 3:30. And my brother answered. I spoke to both of them. Everything was fine. Then by 5 o'clock, my brother had gone home after putting Mum's supper in the oven. By 5 o'clock, Mum was in A&E because she had fallen. There was nothing broken. The paramedics found nothing broken when they came to her. She does have a lifeline, so if there's no answer on the lifeline from the people answering the phone, if they can't hear Mum, they send an ambulance immediately. So Mum was taken to A&E, then discharged later that day. To cut a long story short, Mum also fell the next day. Unfortunately, it was at night, so she was on her own for quite a long time, found in the morning by the carer. And then she was admitted to hospital because they've been trying to find a bed for her to go into hospital. So she is now in hospital. Went in, I think,
in
on
rehab,
Tuesday.
which is where she should have been in the first place.
In rehab. Everyone is confused as to why the discharge note had no post-operative care plan attached to it. But she's having physio regularly, twice a day, not the weekend, but physio twice a day. She's being walked. My brother is obviously visiting, and other family are visiting and taking her on a walk. She's having circulation therapy for her legs, which continues over the weekend as well. So fingers crossed, she's now Mum is now in the best place to get the care that she needs to re-strengthen her body and her legs, so that her mobility can increase further than what has happened, the improvement that's happened already.
Yeah.
But all of that for everyone. I mean, everyone involved in it. I mean, you know, family, Mum, all of us. It's been an absolute challenge, and my brother has been fabulous. You know, he's in Guernsey, very close to Mum, lives around the corner from Mum, or 5 minutes away from Mum. 5 minutes away from Mum, and you know, he's seeing her on a daily basis. And I got a text from him this morning saying that Mum is fine, is sort of enjoying it, though there are quite a lot of old people at the hospital.
Oh dear, she's not going to like that.
No.
She's only 86.
She's only 86.
She's a mere youngster. So that's the saga, and the thing I wanted to say, just to finish off, again, the NHS and, you know, Guernsey Health Services, it's a brilliant organisation.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant organisation, but it's not always organised as well as it could be, because this government is slowly stripping it bare of resources and people, and the people that are left are struggling to actually maintain the processes and procedures in a timely fashion. And things get left, things get missed, information isn't communicated clearly, and when those kind of things happen, breakdowns occur and the right kind of care plans are not necessarily put in place as quickly as they could be. And, you know, when it comes to older people, I feel that sometimes older people aren't necessarily prioritised. You know, I've heard the expression that many older people feel invisible.
Yeah.
You know,
But
and
that's not just in the NHS. That's
that's
generally
in society. But I think sometimes it happens in the NHS too. You know, so I'm not dissing the NHS. I'm really not, because they're a marvellous organisation. I work for them.
They do an amazing job in the hugely underfunded situation they find themselves
And
in.
things go wrong.
And
sometimes.
also, this government, not getting political,
Well,
this
we are.
government
That's all political.
is underfunding the NHS. There is the money there to do it. But also previous governments, let's not just say the current government, previous governments have also underfunded the NHS.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We live in a world now, I mean, you've heard that term, just about managing. I mean, there are now, it used to be the case that if you had a shop or a service, giving service to the public, you would have some fat, as they called it, in there. You might actually need 5 staff, but you'd employ 6 staff, because if somebody was ill, there was cover. If something went wrong, flexibility. Now, I think we see this in coffee shops and all places like that. If they only need 5 staff, they only employ 5 staff, and there is no fat. There's no flexibility for when things don't go quite right. Yeah. And unfortunately, when everybody is working in a stress situation where they're having to work at their optimum all the time, things go wrong more frequently.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the situation. Let's move on to the next topic now, because I think we've exhausted that one.
Yeah.
Haven't we?
I'll have a sip of tea.
You have a sip of tea and stop coughing. Oh, God. Right, so, hold on. Okay, that's fine. We're getting back on track. We do apologise to the competition, well, the challenge winners, the cookery challenge. We're a little bit behind. We've just got to get our act together. We're still catching up, trying to put out a few videos for you to keep you interested, and we're still catching up with a few bits and pieces of admin. So the prizes haven't gone out yet. We haven't missed anybody out. We haven't forgotten.
They'll be going out this week.
Yeah, we're just getting it sorted.
Yeah.
So bear with us. Bear with. Making me cough now.
Well, that's because you're rambling on and on.
Rambling on and on. Are you sure? Right, so he's now sucking a sweet. Just enough of the coughing. God. So, somebody asked us for an update on the loft clear out, the loft room clear out. It's not finished yet. Give me chance. We have cleared it out. It's much clearer now.
I have a virtual paper-free office.
Paul is now paperless, thanks to me. Thanks to me.
Well, I think, no, it was your nagging. It's thanks to me, but it was your nagging.
You wouldn't have done it if I had nagged you.
No.
And it's all clear. There are several furniture building projects that need to occur. Shelving, things like that.
Get yourself a sweet.
It's your fault. You're the one that got the virus.
Yeah.
You probably passed it on to me. I can well do without
Anyway,
it.
carry on. Upstairs.
Yeah, so that's, it's a work in progress. You will get a video showcasing the final room.
Really?
Of course, I'm going to show the room.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing we wanted to say was thank you very much to Ronna for the seeds.
Which I've dropped.
Thank you very much.
Lovely
Ronna.
card.
What seeds are they, Paul? You haven't told me.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. Oh, lovely. What type?
Muscata and jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, lovely. Thank you,
I'm gonna
Ronna.
cough again.
Yeah, well, just, instead of coughing, swallow it back.
Maybe I can't.
Swallow it back.
Swallow it back. I
Yeah.
don't know what it means.
Just swallow rather than just swallow.
Carry on.
I also wanted to say thank you to Vivi for sending us some balm, some calendula balm. Absolutely delightful. Thanks, Vivi.
And Swarmy Catcher, who is one of our beekeepers at the allotment, also says thanks hugely, Vivi. She is over the moon.
Super duper, thank you. I've been using it on my dry elbows. Yes, that's how I do it. I rub it on. And it's really worked, actually, because all the dryness is completely gone. It's a miracle. We also wanted to draw your attention to the update we did on the shop, if you haven't already watched it.
For Earth's sake.
For Earth's sake. And it's a plastic it's a reduced plastic shop. So they're aiming to have zero waste, zero plastics in terms of single use. So go and have a look at that. And
importantly, it's a non-profit venture as well.
Yeah. And we also just wanted to just talk very briefly about environmental issues and the whole thing around plastics. And our message, our personal message is, you know, you see all these things that people share on Facebook and, you know, with images of plastic in the environment. We are getting to the stage now where we all know that plastic is in the environment. We're all aware of that now. So rather than sharing the negative imagery, we should be looking at sharing the positive actions that we can take on a daily basis to reduce our consumption of single-use plastic. You know, there's a lot of plastic in the environment that we will probably never get rid of in terms of things that are in our houses for long, long periods of time. There's lots of product out there already that is going to be sold to people. People will buy them. Things like carpets for your house. Think of the rolls and rolls and rolls of carpets out there that, unless massive industrial-sized digesters, plastic digesters, are installed in every single town and city in the land, those things are still going to be there. So those things are considered quite long-term use. Many of those products will last a lifetime, and we kind of need to be thinking about this a little bit differently, you know. Single-use plastics are a no-no. There are going to be things we'll have that we can't do much about at this moment in time. So we need to hang on to those things, hang on to those products, you know, until such a time that those things can be broken down and reused as other products. There are digesters, aren't there, Paul?
Well, there's a number of different ways that plastic can be recycled or reused.
And one of them is a digester which turns the plastic back into its
constituent parts, effectively. You
Yeah.
can make a fuel out of it.
Yeah, which of course, you know, isn't maybe ideal because it's still a fossil fuel, isn't it?
Well, it is at the end of the day. It's still
Yeah.
a fossil fuel, but it's a fossil fuel which,
Been used again.
it is
Been used again. It's
beneficial.
been repurposed.
It's beneficial to do that rather than go to landfill.
So what we'd like people to think about doing, you know, when you share things to Planet Vegetaria and Richard and Paul, let's look at the actions we can take, the positive actions we can take now. Because there's no point in waiting for governments to pass bills and laws and, you know, oh, you've got to do this, but it's not till 2025.
Yeah.
No. You can do it now. Let's do it now. Let's think about the positive impact we can have on our everyday lives. For example, why not take all your plastic packaging back to the supermarket that sold it to you? Simple.
Yeah.
Next time you go, take a bag and say, here you go, here's the plastic packaging I don't want. It sends a message that they, if everybody did that, they would have to take responsibility. And look, let's be fair, many of them are.
Well, they're taking responsibility, but they could take responsibility a bit more quickly.
Yes.
And I think if we all action things like taking things back,
Yeah.
then, I mean, I send my, I use Gillette razor blades. I send them back to Gillette.
I honestly think you should buy yourself an electric razor. Mine is excellent. I mean, I know I don't clean shave, but I do my neck, and I've had that for years. And you can buy the blades, the new, you know, you can replace the blades, and it takes a while for one of those to wear out, you know.
Yeah.
I think maybe you should think about doing that.
But when I have, it hasn't suited my skin.
Well,
But maybe that's because those are old ones.
yeah, they weren't very good ones. They were cheap ones. Mine was expensive. And it's been absolutely brilliant. Really, really good. And it's got a thing that you stick it into and it cleans itself.
Anyway, if you are using Gillette razor blades, send them back to Gillette. Because sending them back to Gillette and Gillette receiving them back at their head office is going to actually send a message that Gillette needs to
sort it out.
do it.
Sort it out.
And especially, I mean, Gillette doesn't have a free post, but if, you know,
Just put free
just
post
do
on it.
Just, well, you can't. I just put the address on it and send it back. But you're not supposed to, obviously. But corporates need to get the message. These are corporates that are making billions of pounds a year.
Huge amounts of greed. Anyway, so there we go. What can we do as individuals to make a change today? Let us know in the comments below.
I'm going to be washing some sacks that I used for compost so that I can reuse them again.
Okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do today.
You do something. I'm
Something, you know, make sure I'm not leaving the lights on all day, or, you know, I've got a studio light on now and this light, but, you know, I don't know. What can you do that you don't do already? That's the question, isn't it? You know, in terms of shopping, in terms of, you know, taking action, in terms of recycling. What are you doing, you know? Are you investigating the things that you could do instead?
I mean, one thing that you can do is any bags that you do have, take them with you, reuse them when you go. So instead of, if you're going to be buying loose things, and that's another thing, if you can, and I know it's an irony, but if you can buy loose things that are packaged, like you might get 6 apples in a bag and they're cheaper in a bag than buying 6 apples loose, it's insane. But if you can buy loose, take a bag with you and reuse that bag. It's really important that you do that, rather than taking another bag from the bag roll that is always at veg places.
I think what happens is people perceive things that are bagged up to be cleaner and safer.
Yeah.
You know? What's wrong with putting your apples loose into your bag and then putting them onto the scales to be weighed as a group of 6 apples or whatever? There's nothing wrong with that. You can wash them when they get home.
Well, you should wash all veg.
Everything needs to be washed. But do you know what I mean? You can have things loose. Let's move on. I think we're there. I think we've almost done all of it.
Cedric's. The Cedric's
I've been feeding them.
Richard's been feeding them carrots.
They're like piranhas now,
in a
I tell you.
cheese sauce.
Carrots? I haven't been feeding carrots in a cheese sauce. They're like piranhas now. They grab the things as you open the lid. They are.
They're very happy.
They are.
we're also going to meet next week. We're going to be uploading me setting up the bokashi compost bin, which is doing really well. We actually recorded that 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
that's going to be going up this week. My update for the allotment was yesterday.
Yes, I've done that.
Done that. And then yesterday afternoon I did a whole bed, the big bed where the lychee tomatoes, the tomatoes.
And you filmed that.
And the pumpkins were. So I filmed that, so that will be going up as well in the next few
More
days.
allotment goodies for you to enjoy.
And guess what? I'm also going to be sowing some seeds.
Well, it's about time.
Finally.
Because you're almost 2 months
it's
behind.
It just goes to show how life can change your plans completely. However, as you will have seen if you've seen the allotment update, the mushy peas, the marrow fat peas that I did sow in January are doing really well.
You need to harvest them, Paul.
Yeah, they need to be harvested.
Yeah.
And they will be harvested.
I think that's it.
That's it.
I just wanted to say before we go, I just wanted to say to my friend who is going through the loss of her mum, I just wanted to say I hope next week goes okay. I'm thinking of you. I'm not mentioning any names, but if you're watching, love you. Hope it goes well. That's it. Yeah! Woo!
Yay!
So we'll see you later for more allotment goodies. Paul will be providing those. I'll be uploading them and editing them. Thanks, Paul. And I hope you did it all in one take.
No, there's about 7.
Oh, God.
And the longest piece is 26 minutes.
Oh.
But that will be cut and speeded up.
Oh, will it? Oh, I can speed. Oh, that's fine. Okay, bye for now. Au revoir. Bienvenue. No. Willkommen. No, that's the other one, isn't it? Yeah. I'm saying goodbye. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen. That's the one.
Yeah, that's.
I was thinking of cabaret, which is welcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Adieu.
Adieu, 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 adieu.
Adieu and adieu and adieu. Thank you so much.
Yes. Oh, and thank you for all your comments on Mum as well.
Oh, yes.
Which she has appreciated. And also, there were several people in Mum's ward in Salford, and I hope Lois is getting better, and it was great meeting her and her mum.
And I think a couple of people have subscribed, haven't they, from
I think
Manchester?
They may have done. Yeah. So thank you very
Lovely.
much for doing that.
Thank you.
And I hope she's back in Leeds and back studying.
Whoever you are. And
you know who you are.
And just a final thank you to our new subscribers and old subscribers. You're all very old.
Our long-standing subscribers.
Very long-standing.
Who stand for a long time. Yeah.
So thank you very much.
We need to do some cooking.
Yeah, and we need to do a Sunday chat that's actually full of light subjects rather than the heaviness.
Yeah, we do.
Sorry, it has been a little heavy today, but that's a vlog.
Yeah.
That's what vlogs are. They're not all la 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 la, are they?
What's that? Do that again?
La 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 la. No, they're not all like that, you see.
La la la.
They have to be serious sometimes because life is full of
well, this one was because it was going to
serious stuff.
An update about Mum.
But you don't have to stay serious.
No. You could be like Richard.
Yeah. Like what? What do you mean?
I don't know what I mean.
I think life is full of light and shade, and the two can coexist very closely together. Joy and pain come from the same place. They do. Bye for now.
Bye.
Lovely Sunday.
Bye.
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 Love you.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
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 Bye for now.
Bye.